When it comes to South African hip-hop legends, there are a few names that seem to dominate the conversation. You got aka the King of Hooks and one of the country's most decorated artists. Then there's Cassper Nyovest, the stadium-packing powerhouse who's made his mark both in music and business. And let's not forget Kwesta, whose raw talent and authenticity have earned him a place at the top of the game. Of course, KO is up there, holding it down with his powerful lyricism and undeniable impact with his work with Teargas and CashTime Fam. But there's one name that, for some reason, often flies under the radar. The L.E.S, the North God, the L.E.S. The L.E.S has been in the game for close to 2 decades now, and if we're being honest, he's had a hand in shaping the landscape of South African hip-hop just as much as any of the names mentioned. His career has been marked by trailblazing moves, iconic collaborations, and a consistent ability to reinvent himself. So why doesn't he get the respect he truly deserves in those conversations? In this video, we're going to dive into why the L.E.S deserves a seat at the table of SA hip-hop legends. Leslie Mampe Jr., better known as the L.E.S, was born in Washington, D.C. to Leslie Mampe Sr. and Priscilla Mampe. Unlike the typical rags to riches story associated with many rappers, the L.E.S grew up in a well-off household. His father, Leslie Sr., was an IT specialist working for IBM, a job that required frequent travel and relocations. This consistent movement exposed the L.E.S to different cultures from an early age. While he was still a toddler, his family moved from Washington, D.C. to Dallas, Texas, where he would spend most of his early childhood. His parents were known for hosting parties and collecting albums, and this is where a young L.E.S developed his musical interests. Growing up in an environment that blended American and South African influences, he was introduced to diverse musical styles and pop culture, elements that would later shape his artistic identity. At the age of 8 in 1993, his family relocated once again, this time returning to their roots in Johannesburg, South Africa. This must have been a major culture shock for the L.E.S, leaving the familiar suburbs of Dallas, Texas for the vibrant yet vastly different world of Johannesburg. Suddenly, he found himself in stricter schools where uniforms were mandatory, navigating high-walled neighborhoods instead of open suburban streets. Even the sports landscape had changed. Basketball and American football took a backseat to soccer and rugby, which dominated South African culture. Despite the initial culture shock, the L.E.S found comfort in familiar passions like skateboarding and rapping, outlets that made Johannesburg feel a little more like home. Skateboarding gave him a sense of freedom, a way to escape and express himself, while hip-hop kept him grounded in the culture he had always loved. It was through these passions that he eventually crossed paths with Bongani Fassie, the son of South African music icon Brenda Fassie. The two met at a skate park, bonding over music, lifestyle, and a shared love for hip-hop. An encounter made even more memorable as they sparked up a joint and connected over their creative ambitions. This chance meeting would go on to shape the L.E.S's journey in South African music as he and Bongani formed a close friendship. With their friendship solidified, the L.E.S and Bongani spent countless hours making music together. For Bongani's 18th birthday, his mother, the legendary Brenda Fassie, gifted him a fully equipped professional studio, a game changer that allowed the two to refine their sound and experiment without limits. Bongani took the reins as producer, crafting beats inspired by both American and South African influences, while the L.E.S honed his skills as a rapper, bringing his high energy flow and swagger to their tracks. At the same time, the L.E.S was under pressure. His parents had given him 1 year after high school to make music work, or he'd have to return to the US to pursue a more traditional career path. With the clock ticking, he and Bongani hit the ground running, performing their songs at small gigs across Johannesburg, determined to build a name for themselves. As fate would have it, one of these performances would change everything. At a local event, their set caught the attention of legendary South African rapper and DJ Reddy D. Blown away by the talent and stage presence, he immediately reached out to Lance Stir, the owner of the influential record label Ghetto Rough, to headhunt the duo. Recognizing their potential, Lance wasted no time in tracking him down, setting the stage for the L.E.S and Bongani Fassie to take their music careers to the next level.
A knight in shining armor, bro, because Bongs had this long driveway, and we were just making things like, things were just going to. Fucking Lance Stir walks up the driveway. I'll never forget with his hair, dog, just walking out. this big hit. We're like, who the fuck is this coming up? Like, because we're also like stoned with kids. We're thinking like, who the fuck's running up on us in this driveway? So Lance hunted us down. He found us, literally. So once he found us, took us, Get It Off Studios. Yo, we met Morafe. They were also just up and coming, doing their thing. Met Zola. We met like Ishmael. We met Mapaputsi. All these people, bro. Yeah. You know the roster at that time. And we're like, whoa, like now we're on. Like,
big time.
Yeah, now we're in the big time.
At Get It Off, the L.E.S and Bongani threw themselves into making new music, with Lon serving as the executive producer behind many of the tracks. Despite their hard work and the backing of a major label, they struggled to find their own distinctive sound. Many of the songs they produced felt uninspired, too derivative of American hip-hop, and lacked the unique flair that would set them apart in the South African music scene. Their frustration grew as the songs they worked on seemed to miss the mark. As the pressure mounted, the L.E.S parents, seeing his struggle to make a lasting impact in the music industry, told him it was time to wrap up his music career and return to the US. Faced with no other option, the L.E.S reluctantly agreed, parted ways with Bongani, and flew back to Texas, putting his music career on pause, unsure of what the future held. Feeling defeated and uninspired, the L.E.S settled into a mundane routine, taking a job at a CD and DVD retail store in Texas. The work was monotonous, and it felt like the weight of his music dreams had slipped away. But as time passed, he noticed something odd. His parents had booked him a return ticket to Johannesburg instead of a one-way flight. After some contemplation, the L.E.S decided to take a chance and rebook the flight, feeling a spark of hope that maybe, just maybe, his music career wasn't over. Upon landing back in Johannesburg, something extraordinary happened. Amidst the crowd of people, the L.E.S unexpectedly ran into his mother, Priscilla. The encounter felt like fate, and after a long conversation and much deliberation, Priscilla ultimately gave in and allowed the L.E.S to pursue his passion for music once again. When the L.E.S reconnected with Bongani in Johannesburg, he was impressed by how much his friend's production had elevated. Bongani had also formed a strong working relationship with another talented rapper and former child star, Luther Cohen, better known as Crazy Lou. At the time, Bongani was working on a track that would become a game changer for them all, What's With The Attitude. The song was not only a hit, but also featured Ishmael, better known as Ish, the legendary rapper from Prophets of the City. Seeing the undeniable chemistry between the four of them, Lance had an inspired idea. Why not form a group? And so, Jozi was born. With the L.E.S, Bongani, Crazy Lou, and Ish coming together, the collective had the perfect mix of talent, experience, and fresh energy to make waves in the South African hip-hop scene. What's With The Attitude quickly became an anthem that took radio and TV by storm. The track brought a bold, fresh, almost pop-like sound that cleverly blended international influences with local flavor, incorporating a Vusi Zimba sample that kept it from feeling too Americanized. The beat was modern, infectious, and made for the dance floor, with the L.E.S skater boy appeal perfectly complementing the energetic vibe of the song. Ish's melodic flow on the hook added a smooth touch, while his first verse brought a laid-back coolness that balanced the song's high energy. The L.E.S emerged as the standout of the group, effortlessly owning the track with his distinct swag, light skin, and American twang. No wonder the ladies were drawn to him. The song quickly gained massive popularity, becoming a club hit and solidifying Jozi's place in the South African music scene. However, traditional hip-hop purists weren't as impressed, as the song's crunk-inspired style and polished mainstream appeal didn't fit the classic hip-hop mold. It was a confidence thing. I had no business trying to entertain people who only wanted to see squatter camp. We used to have people pulling middle fingers at us at our shows, right in front of our faces, and the girls were just screaming. As long as the girls were screaming, it was fine. We knew we were doing something new and fresh. We gave birth to all kinds of people, giving an easy ear to South African hip-hop. Before, you had to understand vernac, and the English rapping was really deep and poetic. Jozi was now a household name, performing the hit single What's With The Attitude across the country and living the rockstar lifestyle. The newfound fame was exciting. but it also meant that they were caught up in a whirlwind of gigs, parties, and the distractions that came with success. Meanwhile, Lance was growing increasingly frustrated. The group had yet to buckle down and finish their highly anticipated debut album, and he could sense they were getting sidetracked. In a move that would push the group to focus, Lance decided to take matters into his own hands. One day, he picked them up in a van, telling them they were headed to a gig, but instead of taking them to a venue, Lance drove them to a secluded farm just outside Pretoria, an area with no reception, completely cut off from the outside world. The farm, it turned out, housed a fully equipped studio, the perfect place for the boys to work on the album away from all distractions. Forced into isolation, they had no choice but to focus and finish what they had started, ultimately creating the final touches for their debut album, Motherland Crunk. While Motherland Crunk undeniably drew inspiration from American hip-hop, Jozi had a secret weapon that set them apart: the ability to infuse local South African sounds into their music. Motherland Crunk drew heavy influences from South African genres such as Maskandi and Zulu pop, which is interesting because it doesn't come off as an experimental mess. Bongani, who handled the production of the songs, actually executes many of these ideas well. Tracks like Motherland, which also became a hit single, incorporated samples from the iconic Philip Tabane, blending hip-hop with rich homegrown influences.
Stamp your feet and clap your hands.
Rock With You is a surprisingly solid track that stands out with its well-executed formula. As expected, Ish handles the hook with his signature melodic touch, giving the song a smooth, radio-friendly feel. Crazy Lou brings his usual punchline-heavy verses, adding energy and flair, while the L.E.S with his undeniable star power elevates the track's mainstream appeal.
Push up on me, mommy, forget about the rest now. Get down and move up on the kid like a reptile. And for the next style, I'm gonna give you what you want, give you what you.
Beyond the music, their flashy style, swagger, and ability to market themselves as larger-than-life personalities laid the foundation for the modern-day hip-hop scene, where branding and image are just as important as the music. In many ways, Motherland Crunk was ahead of its time. While it may not always get the credit it deserves, its impact can still be felt in the way South African hip-hop has evolved, blending local and international influences into something fresh, authentic, and undeniably African. With Motherland Crunk making waves, Jozi was at the peak of their success, but just as quickly as they rose, cracks began to show within the group. Crazy Lou was the first to walk away, followed by Bongani, both citing contractual issues. Their sudden departures sent shockwaves through the group, leaving the L.E.S and Ish to pick up the pieces.
Hustling on the corner, out of breath, run chasing that paper. For my people on the grind, on that 9 to 5, working hard.
But despite their efforts, Jozi was never quite the same. The magic the original foursome had created was hard to replicate. As the industry sound evolved, the duo struggled to maintain the same level of impact. The once trailblazing group, known for blending crunk with South African influences, now found themselves competing in a rapidly shifting hip-hop landscape. While they continued to make music, the undeniable chemistry and cultural movement that Motherland Crunk had sparked slowly began to fade. As Jozi's dynamic began to shift, the L.E.S's undeniable star power started to shine even brighter. While the group was still active, the label and the public began to recognize that the L.E.S had something that set him apart. His effortlessly cool demeanor, ladies' man appeal, and the kind of college boy swagger that made him relatable yet aspirational made him a marketable star. The record label, seeing his potential as a solo artist, decided to capitalize on this, pushing him out of the group's shadow and into the spotlight. While working on Jozi's debut album, the L.E.S and Bongani had been recording numerous tracks on the side, many of which would later form the foundation of the L.E.S's solo career. The chemistry between the L.E.S and Bongani was undeniable, and these off-the-record songs became the blueprint for what would eventually be the L.E.S's evolution as an artist. In 2008, the L.E.S dropped his first solo single, Tippy Toes. Tippy Toes came out at the perfect time. aligning with the peak of the ringtone rap era, a time when catchy hooks, danceable beats, and viral moments ruled the music scene. Much like Soulja Boy's Crank That, which exploded with its simple, infectious hook and viral dance, Tippy Toes tapped into the same energy. The track was an instant hit, showcasing the L.E.S.'s ability to craft a catchy, danceable anthem, yet maintaining his unique style. His effortless transition into solo territory proved that, while Jozi was a powerful force, the L.E.S had the talent and charisma to carve out his own space in the music scene. Tippy Toes marked the beginning of a new chapter, one where the L.E.S was no longer just part of a group, but a force to be reckoned with in his own right. With Tippy Toes making waves, the L.E.S was officially stepping into his own as a solo artist. The song's success proved that he had the charisma and mainstream appeal to thrive outside of Jozi, and the label doubled down on positioning him as South Africa's next big rap star. Riding off the momentum, the L.E.S went on to release his debut solo album, Fresh to Death, in 2008. Listening to this album today, the production sounds dated with its heavy 808 bass, fast hi-hats and aggressive synth stabs, but it was so fresh back in 2008 as I don't recall many if any South African rappers boldly taking inspiration from Southern ATL hip-hop. The first song, Intro Music, serves as the L.E.S's introduction as a solo artist, and as the L.E.S rapping with a sense of urgency, you don't really hear him rapping like today. It commands attention and makes you want to explore the album further, as any good intro should.
Check it. I'd like to thank y'all for listening. It's only out of your kindness that I'm present today and making music that's timeless. And ever since I touched the mic, I've been rhyming, been realizing I fly like a pilot.
The fourth song of the album, and also the second single, is We On Fire. Produced by Bongani, the track had an interesting backstory. Originally, it was meant to be a song for Muggs, a new ghetto rough signee, but after Lance heard it, he immediately saw the potential for the L.E.S to make it his own. He made the call to make it the L.E.S's second single, with Muggs staying on as a featured artist, a move that made perfect sense since the L.E.S was all over the track. The hook, drenched in autotune, was undeniably catchy, capturing the sound of the time, influenced by the likes of T-Pain, Lil Wayne and Kanye West. The track had club banger written all over it, but it was much more than just a party anthem. The hook had a triumphant feel to it, making it sound like a shot of adrenaline that still resonates today. Muggs' contribution to the song was undeniable. His bass-heavy voice brought a raw energy to the track, delivering a solid verse that added weight to the song's overall sound. Meanwhile, Bongs added a standout electric guitar loop that gave the track a distinctive edge, setting it apart from anything else at the time. When the music video dropped, it took We On Fire to another level. For me, it was a game changer. Watching the visuals for the first time back in 2009, it opened my eyes to what SA hip-hop could be. The high-budget special effects and clean visuals were nothing short of impressive, making We On Fire not just a song, but an experience. To this day, it stands as a timeless single. The rest of the album is heavy on style but light on depth, with most tracks tailored for a female audience, so it's no surprise that hardcore hip-hop heads weren't quick to embrace the L.E.S. However, the final track, Reason, is a standout moment that proves when the L.E.S gets it right, the results are powerful. Featuring a heartfelt guest verse from an unknown singer named Daniel, the track takes an unexpected turn with Bongs' melodic production, a stark contrast to the otherwise vibrant and flashy sound.
But in this case, my voodoo backfired. She was such a good girl, now she gone bad. And when a good girl gone bad, you already know the half. It's like a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Despite the hype surrounding him, Fresh to Death didn't quite reach the heights that many had expected. While the album had a polished, international feel, it struggled to fully connect with South African hip-hop fans in a way that Motherland Crunk had. Some felt that the L.E.S was leaning too heavily into an Americanized sound at the time when the local hip-hop scene was starting to embrace a more distinct South African identity. But I feel like it was a necessity at the time, as the L.E.S gave many people, like myself, a smooth introduction to SA hip-hop specifically. The L.E.S had done more than just make music. He's become a fashion icon. His collaborations with brands such as I'ma Keep, Toobop, Puma South Africa, Aviana South Africa, and Tsepo Jeans have put local brands on the map, turning them into household names. One of his most significant moves was launching his own clothing line, North 94. It's a streetwear brand that reflects his personal style, and it resonates with young South Africans who look up to him not just for his music but for his fashion sense too. Whether it's his I'ma keep tees in music videos or his high profile partnerships, the L.E.S has proven that his influence goes beyond the mic. He's shaping what South African youth wear and how they express themselves. In 2013, the L.E.S took a break from music and shifted his focus to the reality competition show Tropica Island of Treasure. Filmed in Jamaica, the show brought together celebrities and contestants to battle it out for a R1 million cash prize. But make no mistake, the L.E.S wasn't there to just hang out, he came to win, and that's exactly what he did. Dominating the challenges, he proved that his competitive spirit wasn't confined to just the music scene. It was during this time that he developed a close bond with fellow rapper AKA, who was also a contestant on the show. Around the early 2010s, the L.E.S had been in something of a creative lull, more focused on the celebrity lifestyle and parties than making music. AKA, however, kept pushing him to get back into the studio, encouraging the L.E.S to reignite his passion for rap. At the time, the L.E.S wasn't quite ready to hear it, but after winning the R1 million cash prize, everything changed. He used the funds to build a professional studio in his house, and that investment would spark a new phase in his career, the beginning of the iconic North Guard era. This marked the start of a string of hits like Heaven, Fire, Lifestyle, and Dice, as well as numerous collaborations with AKA, which redefined his sound and solidified his place as a major force in South African hip-hop. When we talk about the L.E.S's cultural influence, his legendary parties are impossible to overlook. Growing up, the L.E.S was surrounded by his parents' passion for hosting unforgettable parties, so it was only natural for him to follow suit. Inspired by their flair for bringing people together, the L.E.S took the reins and began throwing his own epic events, quickly making a name for himself as the go-to host for exclusive high-energy parties. The all-white pool party, in particular, stands as one of the most iconic events in South Africa's social calendar. Held annually and invite-only, the event gathers the country's biggest stars for a celebration of luxury, fashion, and music. But it's not just the party itself, it's a statement of the L.E.S's influence and vision. These gatherings have become a platform for networking, showcasing South African youth culture and setting trends. From the early days at his Bryanston home to the monumental 10th anniversary yacht party, the all-white pool party has consistently reflected the L.E.S's position at the forefront of cultural moments. He's not just hosting a party, he's creating events that transcend the night and leave lasting impressions on both the entertainment and fashion scenes. So, after everything we've covered, it's clear that the L.E.S has earned his place in the conversation about South African hip-hop legends. Whether it's his game-changing music, his influence on fashion, or his role in shaping the culture beyond the mic, he's done it all, quietly but powerfully. Yes, maybe he isn't as loud in the media as some of his peers participating in rap beefs, but sometimes it's the ones who move in silence that make the most impact. The L.E.S has proven time and time again that his legacy is undeniable. His influence is felt in every corner of South African pop culture, and his contributions to hip-hop will continue to resonate for years to come. So next time the names of SA hip-hop legends are being tossed around, remember to make some space for the L.E.S because his seat at the table is long overdue. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on the L.E.S's legacy and if you think he's gotten the respect he deserves. Until next time, this is the Trap House, signing out.
Do you think you don't get enough flowers from the game right now?
Like, what am I looking for? What flowers am I looking for? Do you know what I mean? What are these flowers that everybody's talking about? Because the mission is nowhere near done. Nasty C is doing amazing stuff right now. But even for him, he'll tell you, the mission's not done. So enough with this flowers stuff. Let's focus. Let's come together. Let's move forward. I can't be like, but guys, before we move, let's give the L.E.S his flowers. Nah. What flowers? Fuck flowers. Let's go. We're moving.